Now we have another pattern, and this pattern is little bit different than the earlier one, okay, because here the column values are changing, right? The column values are changing, the rows values are going to remain the same, okay. So first one is 4 into 4 pattern, so the number of rows are equal to number of columns. Second one is 3 into 3, and the third one is 2 into 2. Similarly, these are just in the examples, okay. It could be 10 into 10, it could be 20 into 20. Based on the user input, we will be able to manage, okay. Now for this one, again, let's say we have two loops. One is I loop and J loop. I loop is going to take care of the rows, and the J loop will be going to take care of the columns, okay. So we are going to have for I in range of 1 comma n plus 1. So this is going to take care of our rows, okay. Let's say n is the number of rows, okay. Now the inner loop for j in range of 1 comma n plus 1. So basically we want to execute inner loop and outer loop equal number of times, because the number of rows are equal to number of columns, okay. Now what we are going to print here, that is going to be important. So within the print, we have to convert integer into character. So we should have our char of 64 plus. Now should we consider I or should we consider the j? Now for each value of I, let's say the value of I is 1, then the value of I is going to be 1 to n, right? 1 till n, because n plus 1 is the upper limit, so that last value will not be considered, right? So it is going to execute till then. And if we notice in the individual columns, the values are getting incremented by 1, and here the j value will be incremented by 1 for every execution of the inner loop. So basically we need to consider j here, 64 plus j, and then let us have one space here, okay. Now post that, once the inner loop is completed, let us have our cursor to the next line, and for that I can put just a simple print. Now let us have this program in our PyCharm and see for the various inputs. So n is equal to int of input. Inside the input function we can mention enter the number of rows, and this is the input we are expecting from the user. Now let us have our inner loop I in range of, and within the range we will have 1 comma n plus 1. So this is our outer loop. Similarly, let's have our inner loop. So for j in range of, we will have 1 comma n plus 1. So we are going to execute outer loop and inner loop both equal number of times. Now inside the print we have to mention char of 64 plus j. So this is the important thing here, and end is equal to a single space. So that's all. And now after every completion of the inner j loop, we will go take the cursor to the next line. Let me save and run this. So if I give the input as 3, we can see what ABC. So the rows are going to be same, but the column values are getting incremented by value 1, and that's why we are considering j here. So if I rerun it and if I give the input as 5, then we can see accordingly the output. Okay, so that's all in this program. Let's see in the next program.